These were how the people looked who were on these lands. You have Mississippi, you have Louisiana, you have Arkansas, Tennessee. These is how the people looked per household. You go back a century, these is how the people look, all of them. See how dark they are? Dane is bringing up the fact that, a lot of us are kind of clued into um, being sharecroppers, being farmers. It's not far-fetched to say that, the government isn't stealing our land. No, they're not stealing our land. It's not far-fetched to say. They're actually holding our land in trust. There's a lot of people who are coming over here from other countries, and they're trying to find out, how can I put the land patent in a foreign trust and not be taxed and use the land. We got to watch out for that. A lot of these people are going to end up getting themselves in situations that they don't want to get themselves into. Because again, no one is going to just let you use the land without recognition. You can use the land, you can live on the land, but again, whose land is it? Does the person know that someone else is using their land? You got a Donald Trump tower here, in Vegas, where in New York somewhere. You got it in these places, like all these banks and stuff like that. And they're on private land. They're on land that belongs to someone through a land patent, through heirship, through descendancy. I'm sitting here looking at this file they sent me from the website, and they were telling me, if I want to reclaim ownership of my grandfather's, because he owned a lounge. You know what a lounge is? You just go in there and, you can hang out with the people in the neighborhood. They basically said if I wanted to get it right, I would have to provide a death certificate. I would have to, go through the court. And I will also have to, provide a social security number, a driver's license. And I provided some of that information because I wanted to see what else they were going to ask me to give them. But that stuff is held in trust. No one can just come here and say, I'm going to use this, I'm going to use that. Because what's eventually going to happen is when you have people come here from other lands, they're going to go in places like these rural areas where there's no sheriff, there's no precinct, and they're going to try to live off the land as freely as possible. They're going to try to enjoy your land. We have to be careful about these things. This is why you need Calvaries. This is why you need bases to keep logistics. Because anybody can just come over the border and say, yep, this land patent is mine. You know what I mean? And I made the reference that you need DNA matching so you can prove that the person who's on that paper, you hold DNA with them. You need to prove, because they asked me, right, I need my social security number. You're going to need a social security number. You're going to need a birth certificate. Your parents are going to need birth certificates. My mother, she has one. You're going to have to need all these things in order to prove who you were on this land. You're going to have a paper trail. These are a lot of kids right here. Women in the back holding babies. You're going to need a paper trail. Because anybody can just come on the land and say, I'm going to use this patent because I like the land and not have any relationship to the person. Meanwhile, our people, they aren't fixated on going onto the Bureau website and finding out who their people are and what lands were left behind. You can go into unclaimed properties. You can, go into land patents of deceased loved ones. There's so many ways that we can just say, well, you know what? I need to find out where my inheritance is without paying a lick of dollar. Why am I sitting here paying a real estate agent, a mortgage company, $5 million to get a couple acres of land in Texas when we got land patents out there? No one's discussing this. No one's discussing this. No one's discussing this. So I don't think our land is being stolen. Not like, not in that sense. I think, foreigners are going to try to come over here and steal it, but I don't think it's being stolen because like that property is held in trust. It's just up to you. Like all the blacks need to resettle. We can resettle ourselves. We just need to find the land patents and take it to court. We don't have to wait on nobody to tell us up this president is in there, up this president is in there. Like the presidents, they already know like black people are asleep. You're supposed to find your land patent. That's easy to do. Find your land patent, go to court with it. Contact your county clerk. Hey, I got this land patent right here. What do I need to do with it? Get a lawyer if you don't know the steps. The lawyer's they're gonna take you through the process of, okay, I need to do A, B, and Z. All right, so we got probate, we got a state probator. Okay, we can do that. Okay, it got knocked down on the court level. Okay, we're gonna take it to appellate court. It's out of circuit court, whatever, civil court, whatever. So now he's in appellate court. It got knocked down in appellate court. Now we gotta wait a year or so, see if it can get into the Supreme Court. Up to Supreme Court, they upheld it. Now look, you living like this now. Supreme Court gonna do the right thing. People think because they lose on the first on the civil level, they think they lose in the I forget, I don't know. I'm not good at attenuating what courts and stuff like that. I don't study that stuff, but let's just say for instance, like you got knocked down in circuit court, civil court, or something like that. The Supreme Court is going to make sure you win. They're going to look over all the evidence. The Supreme Court is going to make sure you win. So the lady right here in this tab, she was just saying, and like I think she's Latina. She's a Latina Muslima. So it's like I don't know if she really has ties to North America, maybe to the islands, but I don't think she has ties to North America. But she's talking about getting a land patent. You know what I mean? Like she on a website and everything. Like I don't know if you can find someone with her last name. I don't know. She may be mixed. I don't know. But like when you look at it, it's like you take on your father's name, so you find out where it's a land patent. You find out, who has it. Get the certified copy. You can download it to your computer desktop. Take the next steps. Take the next steps. So that's really that. I think like we're not really we need to find out how the court system really works. That's where our egg fouillon is at. That's where our egg fouillon is at. Is in a court system. Because we've experienced so many injustices, us just being on the land and having to move around. This is how we really need to be living, like this. You got 160 acres of land. You got creeks. You got wooded area. You got enough land to put sheds here, sheds there. I'm starting to think that sharecroppers, the people who would consider sharecroppers, I'm starting to think that, they had land elsewhere. They weren't just on a landowner's land helping the landowner develop it, but that was their cousin. I'm thinking like they had land elsewhere that, someone else was renting out from them. Because like, how are you having so many children and living in houses like this? You got wheels. You going from A to B. Like, how are you doing all of this? You see what I'm saying? You're not worrying about whether you're going to eat the next day. You just popping out children. So it's like, what happened to all that land that they must have had? Because everybody has a land patent under these surnames. Jones, Brown, Ellis. You see what I'm saying? So I need to figure out, how the courts work. And like, again, like I wouldn't see myself initiating a claim through a case creation. Because, the court clerks, they're not fair. This is why I always go to the county. The court clerks, they're not fair. They're always like, stop your case. They'll say this is missing. The font is not right. The font, like the lettering. They'll say that the lettering is not right. It's in the wrong italic. They'll make up an excuse just not to, put your case and before the judge's docket. They'll make an excuse. This is why I say, like, just get a skilled lawyer, someone who knows how the system really works. They went to school for it, and have them to do it for you. Like, you got the land patent. That's all you really need. What you need, DNA matching, okay. Ancestry.com, that tells you, they give you hints as to who your grandparents are, your great grandfather, your great great uncle, your great great auntie. They give you all the hints. It's some people, who live around you who already have the information. You just don't know who they are. So the important thing is that you got the land patent. Now you need to figure out how you're going to juke it. That's the only thing you need to worry about. But like, we just need to pop ideas around. Like that's pretty much it. Like, I think eventually they're going to have to start giving the land back, because you can't have useless eaters just, being around. You know what I mean? You can't have that. Like, you got everybody bunched up into these cities. They got to keep vital statistics on who's having children, who's not. Like, all you got to do is tell the people, like, here, we're going to assign case groups to every district, every ward, and find out whose land and who has records and where can we resettle everyone. That's pretty much it. Like, you can have groups just come into the community and say, we're going to start this program for low-income residents. Like, you don't even need to go to court. Like, you can just have it designed, just like submit your documentation on the website, the case study group, they look it over. And it can be like an immense for like reparations. Like, I don't really understand the purpose of these case studies for reparations in some of these cities. Like, we don't need reparations. We just need to be resettled. Okay, like, if you have 160 acres and you're disabled by the time you turn 26, 27, you know, you can work some odd jobs here and there part time, and you tired, right? You maybe have mental issues or whatnot. You got 160 acres land, 40 acres of land, 80 acres of land. You can survive off Social Security. You have a child, all they need to do is boost the pay up. But you can survive off Social Security. So there's no excuse for there's no money. You got acres of land. Go into the woods, get your food. You see what I'm saying? Get your little pickup truck, commute to your land and into the city. Commute from, you know, your woods, your rural area into the city. Commute from your town into the city. Go get you some clothes from Walmart. You need some cargo jeans. That's $20. You making like, on average, you making like what, $200 a month on Social Security? No, I mean $800 a month on Social Security. Get you some cargo jeans. Get you some tools. Start messing with that dirt. You can eat noodles, you know, for, you know, a couple years until you get the soil right. This is what I'm saying. Like, we need to start thinking like how we can really get this done. Like, I'm going to look at this video by Dane Calloway. I think he's giving out a lot of information. You just got to listen to his approach, where he's coming from. Like, he has some information that you can listen to. And this is on American Indian Truth Channel. Right? So here she is right here. Look at this.
Buy the whole block, and we'd all use that patent and help each other. Basically. That's what we would love to do, but that's just, you know, not how things are at this moment.
So you see her name. So you see her name. I don't know what her inheritance is. I don't know what her nationality is, but she's in Florida, so that's by Puerto Rico. That's off the coast of Mexico. That's off by the Dominican Republic. So you have these people, right? She's giving you a diagram, a synopsis of how you can resettle someone on 160 acres of land. Part and parcel. This can be a homestead. This could be a cabin. This can be a homestead. This can be a cabin. Doesn't matter. It can be a house. It can be anything. You're in your own close-knit community. Your own close-knit community. You know everybody around you. Chicago, that it wasn't meant for, you know, I don't want to say that because it probably was, but like, you look at Chicago, shootings every day. All these people are related and they don't know their cousins. So how do you get around the fact that this is how it's supposed to start off? All these people can be round trees, right? From Chicago, from South Carolina, all around trees. They got this land and they got more land outside the state and more land inside the state, whether it be 80 acres, 160 acres, 40 acres, whatever it may be, 120 acres. They all know where each one comes from. The blood is fresh. This is how it was in the beginning. Everybody knew each other. I'm looking at old maps of Chicago and it's like nothing changed. Washington Park was still there. You know what I mean? All these parks were still there. So you go over millenniums of people mixing in and mixing out, and they coming back and forth to the places that they. Because look, say like in my case, right? I live in a certain place, and my grandfather, he lives across town. Okay, how does he know to live over there? Like me personally, like look, I'm not going to move somewhere where I've never been. When I'm moving outside my parents' house, I'm going to pick the closest house near them. Like right now, just moved to Detroit, right? Family that I know of, right? They're moving here to Detroit too to be, with the closest relatives. So you see families, they move in and they move out. You're African American, I'm African American. We need to find our closest kin. We need to find out how we related. This is where land patents come into play. You got all these African Americans, and you mean to tell me they don't know how they're related? They live around each other. We need to talk to grandpa and granddad. I don't want to hear about I'm Cherokee, I'm Choctaw. Grandma said I was Cherokee when she was growing up. I don't want to hear about that. She said we were Cherokee. Nah, I don't want to hear that. This is what we need to talk about. Who is your closest cousins? We always called ourselves family, La Familia. I don't remember us in these times calling ourselves tribes. Unless we use tribe, we was probably using a different Latin language to say tribe, like a Middle English or something like that, like tribus. Tribus just means try us. And I get that sound of try us when every time I hear try us, I think of Lupe Fiasco song. So like, again, like, it's good ideas, but it's like we need to watch who's coming in communities and try to claim land. We need to be careful with that, because we don't know who everybody. You see how these people look right here. Everybody don't look like that in America today, and these are the original heirs of the land. He has a circle mustache. Look at the clothes he has on. Look how his children are dressed. You can make the claim they look African, but you can't say they're from Africa. Africans don't dress like this in their villages. They don't move like this in their villages. What is this? I don't know what this is right here, but per se, just for shits and giggles, let's just say it's a donkey, right? It's something right there, but it's like, okay, where do you see this happening in Africa where they know how to do this? They know how to live in these type of homes, these style homes, because he built this. One of them built this. One of these men over here built this. It was usually the man building their homes and their women coming to visit, and then they're steady pumping babies out. Steady pumping babies out. So it was up for the kids to come back here and do the same thing. This house was going to always be here. Because kids, they're going to tear it up, and you know how they go. So pay attention to this. Like, who's trying to claim all the land? Are we trying to claim the land yet? Are we really trying to claim the land yet?
With the help of the banks. A bank is defined as a retail.
All right, so I don't want to go that far out, but okay, this is All right. So you can see right here. What is, I don't know what this is, a cowl or something like that. You know, what is it? But hey, you know what I mean? Like, hey, how does this work? A cow pulling a buggy, your children on it. You see what I mean? So you gotta, if you want to say they African, right? You gotta be like, are they considered, pygmies? Are they considered Highlanders? You gotta look at the size of the man and the woman. You gotta look at their size. You gotta look at their size. What are they doing? Okay, can you find these? Can you find someone doing this in other parts of Africa just the same way? Cause he just as dark as the person over there, but he don't have their tongue. He don't have their dialect. So if you don't have their tongue and their dialect, obviously wasn't no mixing going on. He's his own ethno. He's his own ethnogenesis. You see what I mean? That's not to say that he's not African, just, it just means what it means. We're African, but every African doesn't have the same inheritance. This African, his inheritance is to be called an American, because he split off from the mother, the Eve, Adam and Eve. He split off. Now he's an American, and you have the African. Where's the African at? He's on the continent of African. He's doing the same thing. He's just doing it a lot differently. They not coming like this. They not doing this. In these times, it was some millionaires. If you got 160 acres of land, it's some millionaires somewhere. You can't tell me that it's no one black person that have made the news that we don't know about. They got 160 acres of land. Just give me one. That just let me know our people aren't woke yet. They still sleep. They still sleep. You get you 100 acres of land. The courts, they guarantee you're gonna get the land because you challenged it, you appealed. You know what I mean? You appealed it. You lost your appeal, so what? You challenged it. You went to Supreme Court. You about to win. The judge has to consider everything on the table. You win the land. The judge is going to say, we're going to compensate you this much amount. You can go and get your own reparations. We're going to compensate you this amount. We're going to give you this with the land so you can develop it. Now, if they pull some stuff like, if you don't do this by this time, you don't do this, and you don't do this while you're on the land, we're going to have to take the land back. Okay, but the land is untaxed. It's a land patent. That's what you got to consider. Our eyes need to be wide open. Our eyes need to be wide open. Like, I'm listening to her, and when she says, I think it was somewhere in here. Let me go back a bit. I'll just stay right here.
This information for the free, on live, on TikTok, because I want you guys to empower.
Now she may be first generation because she has an accent. You know what I mean? She obviously she must have just got here. She speaks her own tongue. Like I don't know any mixed African Americans who have that tongue. They can be FBA and Dominican. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what's her get. But the guy right here, he's listening. I don't know. I think when we're considering, what is adulthood, we're hitting, 18, go into the military. Like on my grandfather's tombstone, he has PFC, private first class, Korean vet. At the funeral, the privates, they come in, they salute them. They put the banner over the casket. They walk out, decorated, you know what I mean? Showing respect. That's how I want my burial to be. I tried my best, You walk in there, hey, I'm landing the casket. You come in there with the banner, the soldiers on guard. They walk in there, salute, come back out. Because for every city, there's a post. So if you got a post in your city, whenever you need help, that's your brotherhood, the army. They're supposed to come in there, make sure you're good. You need to go to the National Guard post. There's a National Guard post in Detroit. I was just there a couple years ago. They got a gym in there and everything. Computers, everything. Active duty. You got a National Guard post. You got a Army post, a Naval post. This is where you're supposed to, do most of your research. So it's interesting.
And have this information.
Let's go.
So this is the website. This is all you need. It's not rocket science. I know it seems confusing. Later on, if you have any issues, you could come to me. But look, you just need to get your county, get your state. You know your state. That's an easy question. You know your county. Easy question. Get your township. Get your range. It's going to say north or south for the township. It's going to say east or west for the range. After that, you're pretty much good. You're going to be able to find what you need. And you just put your information. If you know your information is right, something has to pop up if you're in one of those states. So let me just go ahead and say those states again. If you're not in one of these states.
And this is what I think, man. Like, if you're in a particular state, you're born there, like, kids should automatically, like, because I know the UN, they like to say kids should be born with the right to a nationality, a right to a name, a right to be free from judgment and harm. Like, you a kid, you're supposed to inherit an acre of land. Like, you're supposed to automatically inherit an acre. So it's like, where did you get your acreage from? If you got your range, you got your meridian, you got your township, you got your coordinates. Where am I getting, where do I put in my name at, Because when I was born, no one said we got to put him in the Bureau of Land Management, the U.S. Department of Interior. But I know I'm under somebody's trust because I have a surname. It wasn't explained to me in that way. Your trust is your surname. Your trust is your surname. So if you got a family member out there, you know, you all can't help but get together. Like, you all have to, make sure that you all can find the land plots, develop the land, and work with each other. Don't matter if you 2, 3, 4 generations removed. You all got to work together. This is how you start your tribe, for those who want to use the word tribe. You know this person is your family. You see what I mean?
Before you get it does not mean that your patent is not on here. It just means that it's easier to find your patent with these states. So it's going to be Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, Ohio.
Those are all the states. So if those are all the states, it's no way that you're not under someone's trust by just looking at the surname. The interior, they need to do a better job of communicating. The interior needs to do a better job of communicating. Because, like, we don't hear, like, these land managers for this, like, they don't come out and just, they don't even show their face much. But they don't come out and, like, whole conferences with the, the city manager, the town manager. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't come to cities to invite the people to towns, to survey land and see which land they want. Like, I hear Mike Duggan and he talks. I'm like, he's omitting so much information. He's omitting, like, these council members. Oh my God, they omit so much information. So much. These city council members, they omit so much information. It's not even funny. You think the mayor omits? They omit too much. Some of them don't even talk. You see what I mean? So it's like, I don't know if there's ignorance or they don't know. Like, I don't know. But it's like, if you're in that position, you must be a 32-degree Mason. You must be a 4-degree something. A 3rd-degree something. You probably got that ring on your finger, with the G and the square. You know what I mean? Like, these people they know something. You're not just going to run a city and not know how to maintain it. You know what I mean? Because, like, you look at the cities, like, I never been to a city that just deteriorated overnight. They usually deteriorate over time. But, like, I look at Detroit, like, it's really been looking the same all this time. You know what I mean? Like, it just looks the same to me. Every time I look around and I go here, I go there, it looks the same to me. So, like, I know they know how to maintain the city, So it's like you have to know something. And I think Janice Winfrey is the Clark here for Wayne County. So, like, these people, they know enough. They know enough. Let's see.
And Wisconsin. If you're in any of those states, there is no excuse. Get your patent ASAP.
So what you're saying is, so when
you definitely have your patent.
So when you go search on a BLM website and you go under patent and nothing pops up, the next step is to go under.
So if you go under patent, something can pop up, right? Something can. So when I got my patent, I believe it popped up on patents, but it doesn't always pop up on patents. So take that same information, look, because they're asking you the same thing: township, range, meridian. The meridian is going to be one of these three. Don't think that the meridian has to match your county, because people have that misconception. So you're going to go here, and you're going to put that same information in there. Search. Go to all the little tabs here, right? You can search by document if you know the document number. No hay problema, yo te ayudo, no hay nada. I speak a little bit of Bangla and a little bit of Arabic too. You're in Maryland, go ahead, get your information, put it in here. This is my deed. I have my deed, and my deed and this match, then the patent should belong to me. So that's what you're going to try to do. You're going to try to make the patent and the deed match up.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm transferring all of this to my trust. So some person came out of nowhere. So you don't want to do that. If you actually indigenous as well, but my tribe is attached to this land, but it's not in Florida. So yes, for the person asking, yes, King Q. King Q is Quincy. Okay?
King Q.
Reach out to him, has a link in.
All right, so that may be her family. Valentine. I don't know. I don't know any Valentines, but I probably went to school with one. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, like trusses, and I don't know what you can do with a land patent, really. You know what I mean? Like, sure, your great great grandmother, your great great grandfather, like one of them, like are they all your grandparents? Like somebody has a land patent. You know what I mean? Somebody has something, that's just unclaimed. Like you can take the West Highway or the East Highway, and you can just see just lands, just droves of land just not in use. It's developed land, it's just not being used. Along Tennessee, no matter where you go, you can see this land like no one is using it. And you don't see people who live like this today, really. All these kids, all these responsibilities. When I look around and I see human activity, I don't see women pushing strollers. I don't see carriages. If I want to go somewhere and see that, like I have to go to Chicago, Like my nephew just had I think a daughter. My niece, she has, 3. My other niece has 1. You see what I'm saying? So like, I don't see this activity. I don't see it. At most, mothers have like 2 kids. Like at most, they only have 2. So imagine if you have like 4 responsibilities, 3, 8 responsibilities. You got to be on top of it. You see what I'm saying? You got to be on top of your game. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this. I don't know what I'll be able to find. Let me see. What is this? I'll just scroll through it. This is how it was. This is how it was. You see? All right, so I got this stock footage on my page. So it goes into this. I don't want to see all this. I thought he was going to be showing our people. I don't want to see that. But, Europeans, they really don't have a monopoly on a land, because you can't take land that doesn't belong to you. You can't go to someone's nation and just say it's mine without confronting the departments. The county records is protected by the National Guard. You see, you just can't go to someone's land and say, I'm going to take it. Like Europeans, they don't have a monopoly over here. Like, they're giving privileges, but like, you know, the world is still trying to figure out where they're going to give Europeans more land at. You know what I mean? Israel was supposed to be that land because they just got the Europeans. They only got and I'm making this video at night, so like my thoughts they're hidden. But like Europeans, they only got the chancellery. They don't have a theocracy. You know what I mean? Like Britain, that's not a Christendom. Britain is not a Christendom. America is supposed to be that Christendom, but it's like they don't get along with the natives. You know what I mean? So it's like the natives like we finna take our land back, and then you got Israel. You know what they push, the Apocrypha. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, what do they really have? Like, you hear Donald Trump talking about he's a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever he is. Like, I don't see it. You know, I don't see it. Like, someone can just come through with a land pad and claim Trump Tower. You see what I'm saying? Like, they can take him to court. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was in court and he paid those families off. I wouldn't even be surprised. But think about it. Those children who come up from them families and they see what's still going on and it's still going on in the future, like what's going on today, they ain't gonna take no settlement in court. They're gonna be like, we want our land back. I wouldn't be surprised if all those indictments were families trying to get those lands from under the Trump Tower. Cause like that Trump Tower, we know those black families who own it. It's black Trumps. But like you go behind those towers and stuff like that, is near, like, you see how like Lake Michigan is in Chicago off the pier? You got like excellent land that's settled. You know, you got Navy Pier. Like who would want to find out that they have land right there in Navy Pier? You know what I'm saying? Like you take your land pat and be like, I can do this now. I can do that. Like, can't nobody tell me what to do with my land. But like, I need to figure out what's the extent of having a land pat. You know, I need to figure out, like, if you have a land pad, what's the extent that you can claim it? You know what I'm saying? Because like, it was that person's, it was that man's, like it was his. So you need to figure out, like, what can you do with it? Because you're a descendant, right? Like, what can you do with it? This Popeye's land pad, like, what can I do with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I do with it? So you need to figure that out. Like, it's sweet, man. Like, I feel like it's sweet. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your land pad, you know, ask around, like, what direction, like, I need to be headed in order to get some land that I need to use, you know? Because I feel like mortgages are not the last answer. Mortgages are not the last answer. Mortgages are just a part of, you know, ownership. And mortgages are really meant for people who are, you know, trying to settle on the land, but they don't have the rights to settle on the land. Like, if you're mortgaging, you know, land and stuff like that, like, we know it's a dead pledge. So it's like, what am I missing out? And then like you find out, like, dag, it's the land patent. The last patent is the last resort to the use and distribution of public lands. It has to be. So that's what I'm about to figure out. Like Monday through Friday should be your days where you're just like not necessarily pounding the pavement, but like using technology to the extent where you're allowed to communicate to other, you know, companies and departments to find out what you need to find out what you need to find out. You need to ask experts, like, What can I do with this land patent? Until you find the answers that you seek. You see what I'm saying? DNA, that's not a problem. DNA is not a problem. Genealogy, that's not a problem. Documents, that's not a problem. We got all of that. You see? So, and we know the language of the land, right? We know the language of the land. You know, is Latin. You want to throw some Arabic in there, throw some Arabic in there. But it's Latin. You know what I'm saying? We speak English here. That's our first language. That's our native language. It's English. English evolved from Spanish. Spanish evolved from Arabic. Arabic evolved from hieroglyph, pentagrams, petrographs. So we know we're old people in the West. We get that. You know? We gonna figure this out, and we need to be talking to judges. You know, we need to be talking to judges. You know? And like I couldn't find anybody with my surname in Michigan who had a land patent. That just lets me know that my ancestors, you know, they knew they were indigenous to other states. This is why Ancestry DNA need to do a indigenous subscription for, you know, people who are indigenous to states. You know, they need to do that instead of just saying this person is Cameroonian, this person is Senegalese, this person is Ivory Coast. They need to stop doing that. They need to, you know, say who's indigenous to these states. That'd be too much like right. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll find out like these people who have that, you know, that gene in them, they also have that land patent. You know, they'll find that out too. Because land patent and DNA, they go hand in hand. If they figure that sequence out, you got something. You got something. This is why they tell you on Ancestry DNA, your DNA links you to the southern states. It won't say tribes, but it'll say your people are from the southeastern parts of territories, like Georgia, Florida, and stuff like that. Then you start looking at the land patents. All the land patents are down there. Like I just found one in Missouri, and I found one in Indiana. That's all I need to see. You know? That's all I need to see. Great peace, Yakoki.